Movies about military missions featuring fantastical creatures always promise something intriguing. Unexpected twists, striking visuals, and original concepts. However, Operation Blood Hunt manages to fall short of these expectations. Instead of delivering gripping action and an engaging story, viewers are treated to a strange mishmash of underdeveloped characters, a patchy plot, and a director seemingly lost in his ambitions. Let's unpack what went wrong and where the film still managed to surprise us. The story follows a group of military outcasts, led by a priest, as they venture to a remote island in the South Pacific to investigate the mysterious disappearance of Marines. On paper, it sounds promising. The Japanese Imperial Army and mystical creatures set the stage for a solid military horror. Yet, the film struggles to tie its elements together cohesively. First, the character's motivations remain puzzling. Why does a priest suddenly take command? Where did he learn these skills? And what was the point of that vampire scene in Murphy's Cafe? These questions don't just go unanswered. They feel like blatant holes in the script. Rather than crafting a cohesive narrative, the film tosses in odd details that don't connect. For instance, the werewolves kill to defend their territory, yet the protagonists were already planning to leave. Or Murphy himself, a character who appears to serve no purpose other than to confuse the audience further. These disjointed moments are plentiful. The team of heroes seems to have been assembled under the "let's grab a bunch of oddballs and see what happens" principle. Yet, none of them are given proper development. Perhaps the standout characters are the priest and the werewolf. The priest carries an air of a man with a dark past, but the film never bothers to explain how he became such a skilled fighter. Meanwhile, the werewolf, sporting an oddly sharp suit, style points for that, leaves viewers wondering why he lives in the village and interacts with the locals. The rest of the characters die off quickly, with their deaths eliciting no emotional response. It's not heroic sacrifice. It feels more like the scriptwriter simply ran out of dialogue ideas. For a team that's supposed to carry the movie, the ensemble ends up feeling more like a group of extras with blank expressions. Now let's talk about the positives. Despite its modest budget, the film delivers some decent practical effects. The creatures, including the werewolves, are convincingly designed. Their movements feel natural, and the makeup deserves praise. These moments are genuinely enjoyable, especially when compared to big-budget projects that sometimes overlook such details. Clearly, the creators tried to make the most of their limited resources, and it shows in these aspects. Unfortunately, the visuals alone can't compensate for the overall execution. Anyone with a basic understanding of military equipment or history will find plenty to nitpick. The characters fire their weapons with absurd speed, as if enchanted. Soldiers are randomly equipped. Japanese forces wield American weapons, while the Americans use German ones. Everything looks oddly pristine. The gear and uniforms seem fresh out of the packaging. This is supposed to be the jungle, after all. And don't get me started on the bandage over the sleeve moment. Yes, that happens, and it's one of the most laughable details in the entire film. Instead of adding a touch of medical realism, the film goes out of its way to create situations that are unintentionally comical. The sound design is another highlight. The music effectively builds tension, even when the on-screen chaos makes little sense. It adds atmosphere and brings some much-needed emotion to the otherwise flat execution. The composer clearly knew their craft, and it shows. Operation Blood Hunt tries to be everything at once: a military drama, a mystical thriller, and even a comedy. But in the end, it succeeds at none of these. While the work on effects and music deserves recognition, the script and direction leave much to be desired. This is a film that could have become a cult classic in its genre if the creators had paid more attention to plot logic and character development. Instead, we get a bizarre mix of intriguing ideas that never fully materialize. Should you watch it? Only if you're a fan of low-budget horror films that are fun to dissect in post-viewing discussions. Otherwise, it's best to skip this one. And remember, bandages go on skin, not over clothing.